The Pittsburgh Steelers just hit the panic button. It's a Wednesday late in the season. The playoffs are on the line. And suddenly, the team is scrambling to try out players who aren't even on an NFL roster right now. Why? Because the injury news about their biggest defensive stars might be much worse than we thought. I wasn't supposed to be here today, but when news like this breaks, we have to talk about it immediately. We are heading into a massive game against the Detroit Lions this weekend. I already released a full breakdown of that matchup earlier today. You should definitely check that out for my score prediction. But right now, the energy has totally shifted because of what just happened at the Steelers facility. Before we dive into the names and what this means for Sunday's game, I need your help. We are working tirelessly to bring you the fastest, most reliable Steelers updates on YouTube. If you love this team and never want to miss breaking news like this, please hit that subscribe button right now. Drop a like on this video, and make sure to ring that bell icon so you get notified instantly. It seriously helps our community grow. Okay, let's get back to the news. Today, the Steelers brought in 4 different edge rushers for emergency workouts. You don't audition 4 guys off the street in Week 16 unless you are seriously worried. This action tells us loud and clear. There is a very real chance both TJ Watt and Nick Herbig will not play this Sunday. Watt is still recovering from that scary lung issue last week, and Herbig just hurt his hamstring on Monday night. If those two can't go, our depth is completely gone. Yes, Alex Highsmith is playing fantastic football, but without help, he is going to face double teams on every single snap. That leaves a rookie, Jack Sawyer. He might have to make his very first NFL start against Penei Sewell, who is arguably the best defensive tackle in the entire game right now. That sounds like a potential disaster against a tough Lions team. But this defensive crisis is only half the story of this wild Wednesday. There is more going on, so stay with me. Losing your top pass rushers is never good, but losing them before you face Jared Goff is a nightmare scenario. Goff is a quarterback who thrives when his jersey stays clean. Give him time, and he will shred your secondary with pinpoint throws downfield. We all know the blueprint to beat Goff. You have to make him uncomfortable. You have to put him on the ground. But if we are missing TJ Watt and Nick Herbig, our ability to create that pressure is severely disabled. It might just be an open invitation for Goff to have a career day against us. So if our stars are out, who steps up? Your third-string edge rusher becomes DeMarvin Leal. He hasn't played much this season, and while he can fill a spot, he is not a dynamic playmaker like the guys he would be replacing. He is a Band-Aid on a bullet hole. We can hope and pray for good news on Watt and Herbig, but we have to face the reality that our impressive depth at outside linebacker is being stretched to its absolute breaking point. This is terrible timing. We need every weapon available to stop this Lions passing attack. But there might be another option on the market. The Miami Dolphins just released Matthew Judon today. Now, let's be real, Judon did not look good against us on Monday night. His last 2 seasons, from his holdout in New England to his struggles in Atlanta and now Miami, have been rough. But you have to ask yourself, is a struggling Matthew Judon still a better option than the guys we just worked out from the street? It's a fair question. Of course, the best answer is having our own guys healthy. No one wants to sign a player midweek to fix a crisis. But when the playoffs are on the line, you have to consider every possibility. But while the defensive line is a major concern, there is another massive problem brewing on the offensive line that we haven't discussed yet. So stay with me. Let's talk about Matthew Judon for a second. He clears waivers tomorrow, and if you are the Pittsburgh Steelers, you have to be interested. He fits that cast-off profile our roster is building a reputation for, doesn't he? Aaron Rodgers might call them leftovers, but we call them opportunities. Think about it. The fact that we didn't sign any of those 4 edge rushers we worked out today could be a huge clue. Maybe the front office is holding that roster spot open, hoping to put in a waiver claim for Judon. As a third rotational pass rusher, is he better than the guys we have on the practice squad? Probably. So, keep a close eye on the waiver wire tomorrow. We could see a former Pro Bowler joining our defensive front. This whole situation just confirms one thing. The coaching staff is genuinely concerned that both TJ Watt and Nick Herbig are out for the Detroit game. That means rookie Jack Sawyer needs to be ready for the biggest moment of his career, his first NFL start on the road in a playoff atmosphere. But speaking of waivers, let's pivot to the offensive side. Allen Lazard is officially a free agent. He cleared waivers today, which means the Steelers did not put in a claim for him. That is not surprising. Claiming him would have meant adding his contract and probably cutting someone like Scotty Miller. However, just because we didn't claim him doesn't mean the door is closed. We have already seen this front office bring in veteran receivers like Marquez Valdes-Scantling and Adam Thielen in recent weeks, and both of them have quickly moved up the depth chart. Lazard has history with Rodgers. He had a productive season in New York last year and great years in Green Bay. He is a big-bodied receiver who knows this quarterback. So here is the scenario. If no other team offers Lazard an active roster spot, don't be shocked if he lands in Pittsburgh on the practice squad, just like MVS did. It is a low-risk move that could pay off down the road. But all these roster moves are meaningless if our offensive line can't block. And right now, there is a massive debate about who should be protecting Aaron Rodgers' blind side. So stay with me. Let's be realistic about Allen Lazard. Even if he joins the practice squad, don't expect to see him on the field anytime soon. This late in the season, with an offense that relies so heavily on Aaron Rodgers making complex adjustments at the line of scrimmage, it is almost impossible for a receiver to come in cold and contribute. The most likely scenario is that Lazard joins the practice squad and stays there. Maybe he gets elevated if there is an injury, but more than likely, this is a move for the future. He gets to be back in the building with Rodgers, learn the system, and potentially compete for a roster spot next year if Rodgers returns in 2026. So, do not expect Lazard to be catching passes in crucial moments this season. Now let's talk about the explosive news that might have brought you here, the benching of Tua Tagovailoa. The Miami Dolphins are officially starting rookie Quinn Ewers for the final 3 weeks of the season. This creates a massive mess in Miami. Tua still has a boatload of guaranteed money on his contract, making it nearly impossible to just cut him. He could end up being the most expensive backup quarterback in NFL history next season. But my guess is the Dolphins will do everything they can to trade him this offseason. They might even have to attach a draft pick to his contract just to convince another team to take him off their books, because it is clear his time in Miami is over. And you know what happens next. With Aaron Rodgers' future uncertain, the rumor mill is going to start connecting Tua to the Pittsburgh Steelers as a potential successor in 2026. Let me be crystal clear. That would be my absolute worst-case scenario. Did you watch Monday night's game? We saw Tua crumble in the cold and the elements of the AFC North. He looked completely lost when the temperature dropped below 20 degrees. And here's the thing about playing quarterback in Pittsburgh. It's not always sunny. We need a quarterback who can thrive in the toughest conditions. And there is one free agent who might just fit that description perfectly. So stay with me. Let's talk about the reality of playing quarterback for the Pittsburgh Steelers. It is not always sunny in Philadelphia. It is often freezing in Pittsburgh. Late in the season, when the games matter most, you are going to be playing in the cold. You are going to be playing in the snow, the wind, and the sleet. And that is why Tua Tagovailoa is not the answer. We have seen him struggle even in perfect weather, throwing interceptions when the conditions were ideal. Yes, he has some good traits. He throws with anticipation and is great in the RPO game. But his lack of arm strength is a major liability, and his inability to perform in cold weather is a deal-breaker. In the AFC North, in the playoffs, that is a fatal flaw. On top of that, his contract is massive. Trading for him would mean taking on a huge financial burden for a quarterback with limited upside in crunch time. I just don't see how that makes sense for this franchise. Honestly, almost any other option for 2026 is better than trading for Tua. I would rather take a complete gamble on Will Howard, a total unknown, than trade for Tua. I would rather bring in Geno Smith. At least he has a stronger arm. I'm not saying Geno is the ideal candidate either, but at least he has tools that fit this division. This is why bringing in Aaron Rodgers was such a brilliant move. He has spent his entire career excelling in cold weather games. He has huge hands that can grip a frozen, slick football. And we are seeing it right now. These last 2 weeks have been some of his best football of the season, right when the weather is turning nasty. If Rodgers retires and we replace him with Tua, it would be a catastrophic mistake. It would be one of the worst moves in Steelers history. I'm not saying the other options are perfect. I'm not in love with Geno Smith, Kyler Murray, or Daniel Jones. I'm not excited about starting a rookie or gambling on Will Howard. And trading for Matthew Stafford seems like a pipe dream. But if Rodgers keeps playing like this, the best-case scenario is simple: run it back. Imagine Rodgers coming back for one more year, for Cam Hayward's final season. Imagine them walking off into the sunset together with a Lombardi trophy. If Rodgers continues to play at this level, That is a storybook ending I can absolutely get behind. But regardless of who is under center next year, we still have this season to finish. And that brings me to our question of the day, so stay with me. Bringing Aaron Rodgers back for one more year might just be the smartest move this franchise can make. Think about it. He has already spent a year mastering this offensive system. We all know quarterbacks usually make a significant leap in their second year in the same scheme. Plus, the chemistry is already established. He knows these receivers. He commands this locker room. Bringing in a new quarterback means starting that entire process from scratch. And then there is the financial aspect. Rodgers signed an incredibly team-friendly deal this year, and there is no doubt he would do the same next season. So, right now, as crazy as it sounds, a 42-year-old Aaron Rodgers might still be our best option for QB1 in 2026. We will see how this season plays out. We will see if he decides to hang up his cleats. But let me state this clearly one more time. My absolute least favorite option for next year is Tua Tagovailoa. I want to shut that conversation down before it even begins. The same goes for Kirk Cousins. We cannot have a quarterback in Pittsburgh who cannot throw with velocity in cold weather. That is a recipe for disaster. All right, that's going to wrap it up for today's show. I really appreciate you hanging out with me. I'll be back in the studio tomorrow, and Ponzi and I will be live at 5 p.m. Eastern for our only live show of the week. We will have a ton of crucial injury updates, dive into some draft talk, and answer all of your questions in the mailbag. It's going to be a packed show, so make sure you are subscribed so you don't miss it. Until then, go Steelers.